Angry Old Hoops here with my top reasons that The Last Dance was too nice to Scottie Pippen. Scottie is still making noise with his ridiculous comments. Whether you think that Scottie is legitimately insane or suffering mentally and emotionally, or if you agree with him, I'm sure you LeBron fans love everything that he says, which if you're if this guy is your spokesperson, people are like actually saying prayers for this guy because he seems so mentally ill, and this is your man right here. Anyways, whether you agree with Scottie Pippen or not, what he's doing is working in terms of getting attention. And if this is for book sales, well, that's a pretty extreme way. I mean, in many ways, he's sacrificing his own reputation in order to get enough attention to have some book sales. Makes you wonder what he's done with his finances. And he made $100 million in his NBA career. So I would really like a break from hearing about him being so underpaid and all of his suffering. But what I'm getting at is that his tactics are working because he gets you to think, well, he gets the analysts, he gets the commentators to say, oh my God, what Scottie just said about Michael is ridiculous and uncalled for, but still, I can see where he's coming from. What? There's always this little caveat. Oh, well, I can kind of see where he's coming from because he was so underappreciated in The Last Dance, didn't portray him very well. What are you talking about? The other day, Dan Patrick said some shit like, yeah, it wasn't very nice that Jordan criticized Scottie's contract. What was he supposed to compliment it? Half of the freaking documentary was that Scottie signed a bad contract that hurt him early on financially. What you want Michael to say, yeah, good move. That was brilliant. How is telling the truth about a contract signing him being an asshole? And the underappreciated thing, Scottie has been getting called underappreciated his entire career. I mean, I can remember watching the Bulls and hearing this shit. Oh, he's number two to Jordan. He's in Jordan's shadow. Okay. If someone's acknowledging that you're great and underappreciated because you're always next to this person who's even better, you're getting recognized for your greatness. You don't get to be listed as better than Michael Jordan just because actually, I don't even understand where that argument would go. Scotty's not underappreciated. This is one of those lines that they feed you, and everybody starts just mindlessly repeating it because it seems like the go-to way to start a Scottie Pippen conversation. He's not underappreciated. He might be overappreciated. And it's not that I mean to piss off Scottie Pippen fans or say that Scottie wasn't a great player, but this idea that he wasn't appreciated, in what way? What are you basing that on? He got recognized onto all-star teams. He got recognized onto defensive teams. He got recognized into the Olympics. Michael Jordan recognized him throughout his entire career. Pretty much every game, you had to hear at least once, oh, Scottie in the shadow of Michael, but he is an incredible player. Don't mistake it. Scottie's an incredible player his entire career. The real kicker with Scottie Pippen is that if he hadn't been drafted to the Bulls specifically, what would he have become? There are so many players that enter the NBA that people have high expectations for and that have incredible potential and that have amazing athletic gifts and basketball skills. I mean, that's how they got to the NBA anyway and got drafted. And a shitload of them don't end up measuring up to the hopes or expectations. Now, is that because they weren't actually talented or because it wasn't the right setting for them? What are the factors required for a player to reach their true potential? They can be the type of player who is going to reach their potential no matter what because of their mental toughness. And then there are people who, if they aren't put in the right circumstances, are going to fold and not reach their true potential. I don't think Scottie Pippen would have become a household name if he hadn't been with Michael Jordan, if he hadn't been exposed to Michael Jordan's discipline, to Michael Jordan's dedication, to Michael Jordan's toughness, to Michael Jordan's unwillingness to allow people to be lazy or be happy with what that they had. Listen to this from Scottie Pippen. I found this on the Arsenio Hall show interview with Scottie Pippen.
In high school, I didn't want to work for anything. I wanted everything to come easy for me. And
that's out of Scottie's mouth. Back while he was playing, reflecting on his early days. Did that ever apply to Michael Jordan? Throughout Michael Jordan's career, did you ever see that he didn't have to work? A lot of LeBron fans love to say, well, Michael would have no rings without Scottie. All 6 of his rings were with Scottie. So you're punishing Michael for sticking with a team rather than running to teams like your own idol, LeBron James, did? That's not something to be proud of, even though it's become so common. Now people are accepting it. It's not something to be proud of. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if Michael had acted like LeBron, if instant success didn't come, which is what LeBron seems to expect when he brings in his all-star cast, his Hall of Fame cast. People get thrown to the side or he leaves. Scottie Pippen would very well have just been another LeBron James casualty if he'd been with LeBron James rather than with Michael Jordan. Look at Scottie's numbers his first few seasons. You know, LeBron doesn't cultivate players. He goes out and recruits players. This guy, with these numbers, they would have been like, oh, you've surrounded LeBron with trash again. You would have never heard of Scottie Pippen. He would have been traded away. He would have gone down some endless stream of being traded and never finding himself. Scottie didn't break double digits in scoring until his 3rd season. In fact, I wonder what Anthony Davis could actually have become if he had been with Michael Jordan. Could Michael have pushed Anthony Davis to be a tougher version of himself instead of being exposed to LeBron flop and make excuses James? I mean, look what Michael had to work with. Longley, Winnington. You guys are honestly going to tell stories about Michael's incredible cast while LeBron James goes out and tries to get arguably the best man in the league. Oh, I'm just going to go get the best big man in the league. How are you not already embarrassed? How are you not already embarrassed that the greatest ever, all he does is go out and try and recruit all the best talent? That's all he needs is all the best. Tell me one season ever that Michael Jordan's center was even included in a top list of centers, much less arguably the best. Oh, but he had Scottie. Oh, but he had Scottie. Well, here we go. Let's look at Scottie. The number of times that Scottie acted like a bitch in his career, and Michael bit his tongue, is commendable in itself. The number of times that the media tried to get Michael to talk trash about Scottie, and Michael didn't, is commendable in itself. Because Scottie fan or not, make no mistake, Scottie did some weak ass shit. Scottie showed his mental weakness. He showed his insecurity. If Scottie Pippen had brought that sort of weak ass, woe is me mentality to a LeBron James team, you would be looking at another scapegoat for LeBron James, not another heralded supposed savior of Michael Jordan, as LeBron James fans want to turn every player that was ever on Michael Jordan's teams into. You guys put as much effort into lowering LeBron James teammates as you do into glorifying Michael's supporting cast. Scottie got his own episode. Scottie got his own episode. I mean, you're not Michael Jordan. I hate to break it to you, but you're not. This wasn't about you. You were a big part of it, and you were commended by Michael throughout the entire 10-part series. He gave you props in pretty much every episode. How about the fact that, everybody's saying Michael was in control of the narrative and the production and everything? Well, okay. The cover photo includes Scottie Pippen. Geez, Mike, what an asshole. You're so self-absorbed so as to include Scottie Pippen in the cover. The thumbnail for Netflix, Scottie Pippen's on it. All of these screenshots in episode 2, including Scottie Pippen, Michael always saying that Scottie Pippen was his greatest counterpart and that he couldn't have done it without him. Let me ask you something. What exactly did Michael do that was so shitty other than have a good teammate and acknowledge that teammate? It's like you guys think Mike is shitty for not saying Scottie was the real Michael. Oh, Scottie's getting thrown under the bus because Michael Jordan was still the centerpiece of the show that was about Michael fucking Jordan. Listen, Michael Jordan was the most famous person on the planet. You need to understand the gravity of that statement in a time where there was no social media. I mean, there was more or less no internet. And Michael Jordan was the most famous person on the planet. That's actually weird. That's actually weird. I don't think a basketball player should be the most famous person on the planet, but he transcended basketball, and he was the most famous person on the planet. I'm pretty sure he was. Scottie, you were not. You were not. Scottie, there's a reason that Michael Jordan got an unprecedented shoe deal and you didn't. And by the way, that shoe deal happened before Scottie Pippen existed in any of our minds. Scottie Pippen did not exist until he came to the Bulls, unless you were some diehard Arkansas basketball fan. Scottie Pippen did not exist in any of your minds. So stop talking about it's unfair that Michael got paid this or that, or Michael had this or that endorsement. It's not because he whined and complained. It's because people saw him and saw how good he was before Scottie Pippen even existed in your minds. Before Scottie Pippen even existed in your worlds, Michael was considered the greatest player on the planet and getting unprecedented endorsements because of what? Because he was getting carried by a team because he wasn't a good player until he found a way to succeed with the Bulls. I mean, the meanest version of this is that Michael Jordan was a ball hog. Well, there are a lot of ball hogs out there. And they didn't get unprecedented endorsement deals or get declared the greatest player by people like Bobby Knight and Dean Smith, or declared the best player on the Olympic team before he entered the NBA. So that's one hell of a ball hog if he's a ball hog and getting those sorts of compliments. So much more to say, so much more to cover, and I'm going to get into actual play-by-play analysis looking at Scottie Pippen, and I just don't want this video to go too long. And trust me, all the LeBron James videos from this past season are still on their way. Just taking a little break to vent about Scottie insane fucking Pippen and the weird fucking LeBron James fans that think this guy is anything less than insane.